welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. He's Sean Carruthers.
He's Andy Walker.
And today on the show, something fun.
Another one of our good old TLAs.
Three-letter acronyms. Can't even pronounce it.
Yes.
FTP.
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 File Transfer Protocol,
Very
in
good.
fact.
You may have heard about this technology. It's been around since the beginning of time.
Or you may not have heard about it, which is why someone may be pointing you to this episode.
That's right. Hello, Biff.
Thank you for jumping up from that direction this time. Carrie Holtzman is probably very appreciative of that.
That's right. No rude bum shots of your back end. Anyway, FTP. So FTP is a technology used to move files around the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to tell you all about it on today's episode. But first, of course, we have to pay the bills. So let's take a break and look at a message from our sponsor. When we come back, we can demystify it. It's so exciting.
I think our sponsor actually FTP'd this up to us.
They did. They're very good at FTPing. All right. Back after this.
If a doggy was the new Camtasia Studio 5, it would be the cutest. It would be obedient, and it wouldn't steal Aunt Betsy's purse. The new Camtasia Studio 5, screencasting software that's better than a doggy. Download it at www.techsmith.com.
So FTP.
File Transfer Protocol.
File Transfer Protocol. What is it? Let's talk about what it's used for first, and then we maybe show how it works, and then we'll show some programs.
Well, you know, it's all in the name. File Transfer Protocol, it's for transferring files, essentially. Right. So it's a way to get your document, whether it's a big text document or PowerPoint or a big image or some sort of production document that is like a newsletter or whatever, from point A to point B.
Yeah, and actually interesting you bring that up because normally you'll have a big production document from, for example, Quark Express. Mm-hmm. You're doing desktop programming, you're doing video production, right? You want to move a large file from my computer to your computer,
right?
Somehow,
right?
So how do we do that?
Well, you'd think that you could email it, potentially.
Well, you could potentially attach it as an email attachment,
right.
But
that works with smaller documents. So if it's a text document like Microsoft Word document, that's pretty good. But for example, when we do Lab Rats, we use FTP to get, I make a draft version of it, send it to you for feedback and comments and all of that, and then it'll go up to our server afterwards. Mm-hmm. So each of these steps uses File Transfer Protocol. And when we're talking about files that are 100 megabytes, 200 megabytes, whatever, then just attaching that as a email attachment isn't feasible because the email servers will choke on that either way.
Either coming out from you, or if you're emailing it to me and my ISP, my internet service provider says, I'm sorry, but this file is too big, it's going to reject it, right? If it's 100 megabytes and I got a 100 megabyte inbox, it's not going to work, right?
Right, and I mean, theoretically, you could break larger files up into smaller chunks using utilities and send all of those separately, but then you're going to miss a piece potentially in the mail, and it's just a huge pain in the butt, and you're sitting there waiting for it to upload for like 16,000 hours. So better to transfer the file using FTP all in one shot.
Now, FTP's been around for a long, long time, right? It's, even before the web came along, and the FTP was available, right? It's been around since the beginning.
Yeah, way back in the early days when you were on the net, if you wanted to get a file from somewhere, like right now you just go to a website and click download, but in the early days you would actually go to the FTP site for this company and download the file directly from that site. Right.
It's important to remember, actually, it's actually a protocol, just like, so you may know that when you go to a website, you type http:// right? It's a protocol. It's saying
hypertext transfer.
Hypertext
transfer protocol.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a way for the computer to talk to another computer to transfer information, right? And FTP is a file transfer protocol, meaning there's a way to move file from one computer to another. So you would actually, if you want to go to a website using your web browser, you would actually type FTP:/ in the address of the site to go to the server to look at the file directories to retrieve or to drop files in there. But let's do a real quick demo here. We have a bunch of cans here on the table.
Okay.
So I need a can of chunky soup from you.
Here you go.
No, that's not going to work.
Okay, so I'm in one location, you're in another location.
Right.
So if you are the server, I would basically upload this to your server over here.
Yes.
But most people don't have a server at home.
Right.
So what they'll use is they'll actually use a third party. And we're going to have that right here.
Oh, third party.
Here's our third party server right here.
Right. And
So
that's running
what
now.
I'll do is you say to me, I want that LabRats draft.
Hey, Sean, would you upload the LabRats draft to our server, please?
No problem.
Can you do it quietly, please?
There we go.
Thank you.
So what I'll do is I'll actually use an FTP client, which we'll show in a little bit, and send it to this server, which is my server out in space.
Right.
Then it'll be sitting there for you to download.
Right. And then I go, and he'll send me an email and go, hey, it's ready to go. In fact, that's what he does
Andy,
every Thursday.
It's ready to go.
Thanks, Sean. I'm too busy to look at your thing.
Do it now. I need to do this. I need a weekend too, you know.
Oh, okay, you jerk. That's sort of how it goes. So then I log on to the server, and I go, all right, here we go. Let's have a look. Yeah, it was a pretty good episode. And I'll fire him off an email with all of my comments. And then, but I don't actually put it back because he's got a copy of it, and he's going to revise it and that sort of thing. But you could theoretically, right, actually, he could send it up. I could take it out. I could open it. I could edit it if I wanted to. I can make changes, put it back. And it just could be a way of handing files back and forth between people.
Yeah, so what we'll do in the end is I'll make the modifications that are requested to this file. Hope you remember what soup this is later when you're hungry. Anyways, I'll make those changes, and then I'll put it into this other server, which is over here, which is actually where you download it from now.
That's right.
So
Exactly.
I will FTP it back up to a new location.
To a new location, right? So it's just a way of transferring it from one place to another. Think about it as a truck that moves stuff around. Okay. All right, good. So now we've shown the mechanics of it. We've shown the purpose.
Oh, the one thing that's worth noting here is with attachments, you can attach multiple files, but you can also do the same thing with FTP. I can say, send all of these files.
Now I know what it was like to work with me on a call for help.
Man, you got some dented cans in here. You better put these in the discount section.
Thank you. All right, let's look at the programs you're going to use to actually get to the server and pull files down. Okay. So, are you done?
Maybe.
Okay, good. So I like to use a program. It's a freebie called Core FTP.
Core
Right?
FTP?
Core FTP from coreftp.com, I think it is. So let's open that up here. So as you can see, there is it sort of looks like a Windows Explorer, where you, on the left-hand side is all the folders and files on my computer, and on the right-hand side is the destination. It's actually this server over here we're going to send the files to. So what I'm going to do is go up here and click on the site manager, meaning the definition of the sites that I actually interact with every day. I'm going to connect to, let's see, well, here we go. Our sponsored TechSmith, right? We occasionally will swap files with those guys. So I'm going to select that. You'll see the site name. You're going to see a host IP or a URL. So you're going to define the destination file, the destination server, by either a real English language type of thing. In this particular case, it's supportftp.techsmith.com. But it could be an IP address, right? 128.something.something.
Could be. So like if you had, for example, set up an FTP server on one of your computers here and then connected that directly to the internet, I could send it directly to you by your IP address.
That's exactly it, yeah. And you could theoretically do that, right? You could actually set up your own FTP server if you had the know-how.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that today because it's a little bit more advanced.
Right. To get into an FTP server, you're going to want to, you need a username and a password, right? So the person that actually runs the server will actually define access to the server, giving you a username, just like you would have for any account.
So I'll say this server, an account on this, Andy, password, Andy's Wiener, and permissions, he has access to these particular directories.
Right. As you can see, he said permissions there, right? So he actually defines what part of the server I can access when I log on to it. So, and there's going to be a port, traditional port sending out is port 21 FTP. You don't have to worry about that. That's usually set as the default. And there's a whole bunch of other configurations you can mess around with. But now, if you don't provide me with a user ID and password to get onto the service, specifically for me, there is such things called anonymous FTP servers, right? So the public FTP servers out there that allow you to interact with and log on and either leave files behind or pull files off of it.
And a lot of FTP services or servers by default will have anonymous capabilities as well, which will limit what you can see on it.
Right.
But they will allow you to go and search things and dump things into an incoming box as well.
That's right, exactly. So if you come across one of those, to log on to an anonymous FTP server, you type in the user ID, anonymous, that word, and then the password, you can kind of use anything you want. By tradition, you use your email address. today in the world of spam and that kind of thing, I wouldn't recommend it. Just put some, Sean at, dingdong.com or something like that. It doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah, I just type a string of gibberish, then an @ symbol, then another string of gibberish, then .com.
There you go. And that'll get you on, again, with limited privileges. All right, so I'm just going to connect here. I'm going to connect to the TechSmith server. And what you're going to see on the right-hand side is going to be all of the folders available they've set up for their day-to-day use. And I think they had one here for, it was the guy I was dealing with and had a folder in for me. So I can just dive into each folder, put a file up if I wanted to, or take a file down if I wanted to as well.
So the client here that you're using, and you notice at the top here, we've actually got what looks like another language. It's giving commands, and FTP by default with Windows, newer versions of Windows, I think ever since '95, you've been allowed, maybe even Windows 3.1, I'm not sure, I hadn't used it that much, but you can actually go into the command line and type FTP from the command line, and then open up, connect to a server, and then
You can actually do that still on Windows, actually. Let me just show you how to do that.
That's the thing, it's just like a protocol, just like email. It uses basic commands that you can actually type straight into your command line.
So if I open up a command window here on my computer and I type FTP, look what happens.
There you have an FTP window.
I have an FTP window.
So an FTP command line. So open.
Let's see if I can find. Okay, well we'll just go. I'll use the command open, and I can say www.andywalker.com, and it's going to connect to my server, andywalker.com.
Yeah, and then see all of the old school welcome to and all of that, and the information. Now it's asking for your username, so you would type your username in here, and you can type your password.
So I can type, see if we have anonymous.
Yeah, so password required for anonymous. This is a basic feature of most servers, and like I said, it won't give you access to your account if you do this. It'll give you access to the public inbox.
Yeah, anonymous is actually shut down on the server, which it should be because it's a web server. We don't want people getting on there. But so you'll find that you can actually connect that way, either with a client or with this application here, and actually get in there.
Yeah, and I mean this is a huge pain in the butt because you have to type everything. You have to know the names of the files. You have to type them letter for letter, or copy and paste, and just do it bit by bit, and it's just a huge mess. And so you use. I mean, this is the step up from DOS basically to Windows when you go from this version of FTP to a client that actually shows you with folders and everything, where all the files are, and just gives you a basic graphic overview of it.
Here I'm typing in commands as we go. Of course, your client that I showed you for, like Core FTP, is actually doing this all in the background, but they just offer you a graphical user interface to make it easy to use, right? So there you go, that's FTP. So that's Core FTP that I want to talk about. That's a freebie. I know that Mo, for example, uses FileZilla, and that's available. Put the URL on how to get to that program here. Or do I have it running? I have it running here. So let's pull it up here. Again, kind of looks like Windows Explorer, right? You have Windows for your local files, and then on the right-hand side would be the remote destination files once you're connected, that sort of thing. Quite a good one, right? You enjoy that? It's good?
Use it at work.
Use it at work all the time. So you was it photos and video and stuff you move around?
Mostly video.
Video, okay, so there you go. So, pictures, of course, you could add to email. Video, not so much anymore, right? So there you go.
Right. I used to use the limited edition version of WSFTP on Windows. There was a free version of it, less featured. And I know that you have a version of it that is a little bit more higher end, I believe.
Yeah, it's a company called Ipswitch.com. Makes a product called...
I think they've changed the name.
They have changed the name. It used to be called, it is still WSFTP, right?
There we go.
They have a pro version and a home version.
What does WS stand for?
Ooh, I don't know.
Whip switch.
Whip switch, no. I don't know.
Anyways, yeah, WSFTP has been around forever, and they've got new versions of this out all the time. Get the full version free. There we go. That's crazy. So it's free.
No, it's not free. You have to do a whole bunch of marketing stuff to get it done.
Well, there you go. If you're willing to do some marketing, you can get it for free.
Probably the most famous is WSFTP from Ipswitch.com. There you go.
And of course, this is not simply because it's a protocol, it's not simply something that you have on Windows. You have this on Linux, you have this on the Mac. On the Mac, I usually use a couple of free programs. Some people use the free program CyberDuck, and some people really hate CyberDuck. If you're willing to pay a little bit of money, for about $30, I think, you can get something called Fetch. And Fetch,
that was the one we've always used for like when I developed Canada.com years ago, and that was the the favorite on the Mac side.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of people still use Fetch just out of sheer inertia, but a lot of people these days are also moving to a newer one called Transmit from Panic. And that one is very nice because you can actually, one of the big problems with this is always that when you're uploading, you have to wait for it to finish before you can do anything else with that server. What Transmit will allow you to do is if you have 6 or 7 files already uploading, you can just throw another couple in there while it's still uploading and just say, add these to the queue after you're done. And it'll say, okay, which I like. So there you go. Panic Software Transmit 3. And I'm not 100% sure what the new cost of this is. An upgrade for $17.99, but I think it's like $30 or $35 to buy it brand new.
Very good. All right, there you go. In a nutshell, FTP, File Transfer Protocol. How exciting is that?
It'll allow you to rattle soup around inside a big pot.
That's right. Virtually, of course. All right, let's take a break. And we have pictures.
We have some pictures.
Is picture time coming up? My favorite part of the show. Okay, enough of the banging around. Take a look at a message from our sponsor. We'll be back after this. And hopefully Sean will be done the noise by then. Are you done with those cans?
Yeah, Mo took them away from me.
Good. Thank you, Mo.
You're welcome.
All right, pictures.
Yeah, but first I wanted to mention a couple of things about FTP that we didn't mention before.
Okay. Sure.
First of all, there's a couple of levels of FTP, and it's worth noting, first of all, that when you send something using standard FTP, you're sending your data out in the open over the network. So if you're sending something sensitive, then essentially you're sending it in a way that anyone could intercept along the way, theoretically.
So if it's the schematics for the your anti-gravitational machine,
Yeah,
for
you don't want to
example,
do that.
somebody could sit there and sniff that out and steal it from you.
Right. So there is secure FTP out there, and it's SFTP is one of the acronyms for it. So if you have a secure server that you need to connect to, you need to have a client that will support that. And some of the freebies may not do that.
Right. Very true.
And even some of the paid ones may not do that. For example, I've got those two programs, Fetch and Transmit. Fetch doesn't. And for the longest time, I was using Fetch for my regular transfers and something called Fugu for my secure transfers, just like the fish, F-U-G-U. But then I realized...
It's a fish?
It's a fish. Fugu fish, the blowfish. Tasty fish.
Okay, got it.
So then I went to Transmit, which actually will do both. It'll do both secure and non-secure
Right.
as well. So that's another reason to use that one.
And what about SSH?
SSH, it will be a checkbox in some of these. So, I mean, download the freebies and check for those options in there in the settings.
So SSH, of course, is a different protocol designed to move data securely between devices.
Yeah, and it's used with email and other methods of getting files from point A to point B as well.
Securely. Okay,
So-
secure shell.
Secure shell, yeah.
Or SSH.
So the other thing I wanted to mention is if you don't want to go to the trouble of adding a program to your computer, whether it's Windows or Mac, you can actually just basically add FTP transfer into Firefox.
Oh, right, yeah.
So if
good.
you have a copy of Firefox already, there's things called extensions, which will allow you to add extra functionality into your browser.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you can add in is FTP. So if you go to the add-ons and search for the extensions.
Tools,
Yeah.
add-ons, and then you want to go to Get Extensions.
Get extensions, right? And it will take you to the site that you were pretty much already at.
Or visit addons.mozilla.org.
Right. So then you can search for add-ons, and we'll just search for FTP in this case. There was one that we used to use called Fire FTP, and I'm not sure whether it's still out there. Here's one that's that's showing up called Cross FTP.
Right.
So do a search, see if you can add that in, and you can also try searching for Fire FTP to see if you can find an old copy of that still out there. And what that'll do is, in a lot of cases when you're using your browser to download from an FTP server, you can just download one way. It doesn't give you the option to upload the other way unless it's a very special kind of site. But Fire FTP basically puts that into your browser window and allows you to do the transfer both ways.
Good, very good. The other thing you could do is, of course, we have mailbag episodes every now and then. So if you have your favorite FTP freebie or the payware that you swear by, that you love, or an add-on for Firefox or whatever, just a tip about FTP, send it on into us at
feedback@labrats.tv.
and we'll take a bunch of them and include it in the next mailbag, maybe. If there's enough exciting tips from you guys, because of course it's a two-way thing, right? We bring stuff to you, but you bring it back to us.
You know what else you can send to feedback@labrats.tv? Your photos. And we have some.
It's picture time.
It is picture time.
It's picture time. It's picture time. It's picture time. It's... Sorry. Okay.
Can I rattle the cans a bit more now?
No.
All right. All right, so we're going to start today's Picture Time episode with this photograph from Phyllis, who's in Bristol, Rhode Island.
Dogsonacouch.com.
Dogsonacouch.com. And it's her dogs, Madison and Misty Lou.
Oh,
I'm not sure which is which. They look very similar, though.
they're lovely.
It looks like there's a book on the Beatles on the table as well.
That's right.
Anyways, sorry, don't mean to sort of
just like to-
psychoanalyze you through your
We
photograph.
do love to look at your houses, though, and see what you've got going on your tables and stuff like
Cool.
that.
I think that's a spider plant in the background.
That's right. It's one of my favorites. Okay.
Thank you, Phyllis, for sending that in. Do
All
you
right.
know, my mom's name is Phyllis.
Is she really?
It's true.
2 L's or 1?
2 L's.
2 L's. Phyllis. Phyllis. Very good.
2
Hi,
L's,
Phyllis
1
Carruthers.
S.
My mom's name is Dorothy.
Dorothy?
Yeah, Dorothy.
We don't have a photograph from anyone named
No,
Dorothy
I know.
today.
Well, I know. Go on.
Anyways. You asked for TVs.
I did, yeah. I wanted to see everybody's TVs, see what you're watching Labrats on, or watching your favorite TV show on, or whatever.
Yeah, this is from our viewer Richard, who's in Burlington, Ontario, and he's watching our special Lights Out episode of Labrats here.
That's right. We did Labrats in the dark.
Yep, this was, I guess, a freeze frame from that episode, because we got lights going pretty quickly again. Either that or he's just not watching anything. I don't know.
What kind of TV is it?
It looks like it could be a Samsung.
Samsung.
Yeah, that looks like a Samsung.
Nice. Lucky you. It's a nice TV. Awesome. There you go.
There you go.
Home theater setups.
So thanks, Richard, and keep sending in those
Pictures of your
photographs
TVs.
TV.
What are any of your technology? We just like to see what in your living. We just like to snoop in your house.
Do you know a tip? Put something on the TV. Yeah. It'll make the picture a little bit brighter.
Pretty. Okay.
All right. And last in this episode, I believe, is George.
And he's got his shorts hanging on the wall.
Are those shorts? Or I think that's a jacket, actually.
jacket.
A couple of jackets.
Okay, there you go.
He's doing the old MySpace photo trick.
That's right. All right.
It's very good.
cool. Awesome.
So we've gotten a few emails from George saying, why don't you do an episode on this? And we've got those in the queue, George. So thank you so much for those. And thanks for your picture.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sending that in.
Oh, we do actually have one more.
Oh, no. Who's this?
This is our viewer, Terry,
Yes.
who is actually at an Apple store right here in Toronto.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a place I've never been before.
Yeah, it's crazy. You should explore, see things around the city.
It's the genius bar I object to, because they're not really geniuses at the back there.
No, they're not.
No. Okay, so Terry, at the Apple store in Toronto somewhere.
Terry, I'm trying to
Yorkdale?
figure out which one this one, whether
Yorkdale.
it's Yorkdale or Sherman. Is that Yorkdale?
Yorkdale.
Okay. Well, he's
There
at
you go.
Yorkdale.
Notice he's outside. He's on his way to buy Windows Vista. 'Cause he's
I'm sure that's what he's doing. So,
Hooray! Thank you for your pictures. We love your pictures, as you know.
even if they have Apple in them, I like it when you send pictures with Apple stuff in them, but
Yeah. And I like send pictures of stuff that pisses Sean off too. Like Windows Vista!
you could send a photograph of a Windows Vista machine on fire. That would be okay. I don't actually hate Windows Vista
No, you don't?
much. All right.
All right.
Again, send those photographs to feedback@labrats.tv.
Yeah, and you can visit our website if you want to see all the episodes, except for the ones about Apple, on our website are marked as fun episodes. You can go to labrats.tv to find those and to see those. And if you want to visit our forums and tell us why you love the episodes without Apple in it, and you can visit cyberwalker.com/forums. All right, there you go.
Yeah, do all those things immediately.
All right, that's another edition of Labrats. I didn't think it was going to turn into an Apple bashing episode because it's about FTP, but hey, we have to have some fun.
You'll always find a way.
I will, really, absolutely. Well, that's it for another edition of Labrats. Thank you for pushing play this week and downloading and all the stuff that you do to watch us and bitch about Apple and Vista and things like that.
It's such a nice logo,
I
and
know
he
it.
seems like such a nice
He is a
man.
nice man. Right. My name's Andy Walker,
I'm Sean Carruthers.
and we'll see you next time. Bye. What was he wearing? Was he wearing an Apple logo?
No.
No.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Right.
So, will you encounter FTP in your everyday life if you're just a basic user? Probably not.
No.
Unless somebody says, send me a large file and I have a server for you to put it on,
Right.
right? So how do you get a file from your computer and put it out there onto somebody else's server? Well, you use what's called an FTP client. And you need to either download and install a freebie or buy one from a consumer. But let's first, before we, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's stop this for a second. This is not going the way I hadn't set it up properly. And it's not going the way I want, and this keeps happening too, so.